everyone. This past weekend, while I'm recording this past weekend anyway, I had this wonderful opportunity to be a part of my best friend's wedding. Bryce and I have been friends for over 20 years now, and this was just such a joyous day. It was a great opportunity to celebrate together. But one of the things that stuck out to me outside of the wedding was some of the conversation I was having with the best man of the wedding party. Tim and I were talking, and he was sharing quite a bit of his heart about some of the things that he's experienced over his life. And one of the things he says that is one of the bigger regrets in his life is the lack of photos that he has taken over his life with some of the friends of his who have passed away over the course of his life. He said, I loved these friends, and now when I look back to find some of the memories that we had or shared together, there's no evidence of it except the memories in my head, the mental images, but there's no physical photos that I can share with some of those moments. And that really stuck with me. So much so that I made sure to get at least one good photo personally with Bryson because of the memory that we were sharing that day. And I wanted to be able to remember just how awesome that day was celebrating with him after all these years of friendship. As I was thinking about that, I was reflecting on that on my drive home because I had 3 hours in the car to reflect on some of those moments over the weekend. And I think what stuck out to me was in Colossians 1, where Paul talks about that Jesus Christ is the image of the invisible God. Now, we can't necessarily go take a photo booth shots with Jesus physically, but what the scriptures have given us through the Gospels especially, is this witness, these snapshots of some kind of the living God who walked this earth and who's coming back one day. And as I was thinking about some of the ways that I'm like, I want to remember this about some of my friends or the people that I love, it made me wonder, what are some of the pictures that we remember of Jesus from throughout our lives? What are some of those snapshots of the Christ in our life that we remember? I remember very vividly a number of moments in my life where I just needed to, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing in my life, I remember Christ's presence. And I can look back on that and I can find in the scriptures the points where I should have been aware of how Christ was going to show up. But I have those mental images, and they're cemented by the scripture that reminds me of how powerfully Christ is active in my life. One of the things I vividly remember, and maybe you've heard me tell you this story before in some ways, but there's a song called Carried to the Table by a band called Leland. And that song sticks out so vividly in my life, still to this day. Because it caught me at a time when I needed to know that I was worthy of Christ's love, even when I didn't feel like it. Those are the kind of snapshots that I will never forget, that I will always cherish, that I can always point to and say, this is how I know Christ is with me. So I want to encourage you to think about, what are some of the snapshots in your life? What are some of those mental images, those pictures that you will always hold on to of the power of Christ's work in your life? And I want to encourage you to hold on to those and use those to share with others. We've been talking a lot about what it means to be witnesses through the book of Acts, and this past Sunday we looked at the Ascension. I mean, now it's our turn, to take those photos out. It's great to share photos on Facebook. I mean, some of you probably saw the picture of Bryson and I. But those pictures, we have to somehow describe them to the world, that they know exactly how powerful they are. So what are those snapshots? What are those pictures of Jesus from your life that you're going to be able to share with the world so that they might see the power of Christ in you? Because that is the invisible God made visible in some ways to the rest of the world. Folks, I hope you have a great week. We'll see you soon.